There's something about Catrina that you want to mention?
Yeah, so we love the Catrinas. We know them very well, you and I, but maybe some people out there don't know them. So with Dia de los Muertos, with Day of the Dead, there's obviously this tradition of like this the candy skulls and the skulls everywhere and the flowers, the cempasúchil, everything. But there's also a more recent ish kind of like tradition. Recent, I say recent because it's from the 1900s or the late 1800s, so that's recent. But from José Guadalupe Posada, who is he was an illustrator, an artist in Mexico, and he did these characters, these Catrinas. So Catrin is just like an old timey word for like a fancy gentleman, like somebody who's like dressed up and whatever. And so Catrina is just like
Like on the he's one of the cards on
the loteria. And so Catrina is just the female version of that. And so the first,
so like a lady, like a fancy
yes,
lady.
exactly. And so the first depictions of these skulls, for like the newspapers and everything, they were basically making fun of like the high society.
Yeah, I mean, there's like a famous print, right, of that he made of like with the Catrina with the hat.
Yes.
And for the gringos, like who saw Coco, like that's sort of the first. It's like a nod to that, sort of the first skeleton that Miguel sees is like a nod to her, like the Catrina.
Girl, I thought you were gonna rep for your good friend, and talk about the Book of Life instead of Coco.
I'm just saying that it was more standard, that it's more of like a go-to.
I know, but like the hat is the hat.
Oh, with La Muerte, the lady La Muerte in Book of Life. That's it, I would say it's also a nod to that, but it's more of like a character design nod than like a moment nod of like, oh, haha. Like it's more of a character. It's used as a design element, as an homage, I guess, to her. Yeah.
Well, what about Jorge Gutiérrez, right?
Jorge, yes.
I keep forgetting his last name.
With Maya and the Three. Amazing.
Yes.
Go check those out. His series El Tigre is now available, I think, on Paramount Plus for people to watch. So that was one of his first series that people can go check out now too.
Like my favorite thing about his work is how he does what you have been, asking for many years, which is not like, oh, this tradition is like this, so I have to depict it exactly like this. If not, it's disrespectful. No. He takes references from everywhere.
Oh yeah.
And he creates like original, like Mexican inspired fantasy, but like it's a little bit of this tradition and a little bit of this myth and a little bit of this.
That's what I love.
We literally have all of this at our disposal, and we can just use them, and we just talked,
That's what I love about his work is that people. So one of the things that somebody asked me when Maya and the Three came out was, doesn't it bother you that they're speaking Spanish, because this is like ancient Mesoamerican Aztec and they didn't speak Spanish? And I was like, excuse me. First of all, nowhere in this series does it say that this is Mexico. Does it say that this is Aztec? Does it say that this is Mayan? This is the Kingdom of Teca. And so that's like saying
does it bother you that they speak English in Lord of the Rings?
Thank you. Where are there dragons in Game of Thrones? I'm sorry, there weren't dragons in England. It's not England, girl. It's a fantasy world inspired by that country, inspired.
And I love that at the end of the day, Maya and the Three is like an homage to everything that makes us Mexican, and that includes like there's an African inspired, an Afro Latino kingdom, and there's like people from the jungle and people from the desert and because that's what we are, a mix of everything,
So not only is it inspired by Mexico like that, but there's a great scene where you see the world, like the globe, right? And the whole world, it's just a big continent of Mexico. And it's so great. But the other thing I like is that it's not just inspired by Mexico. So much of the animation in Maya and the Three is inspired by, he said himself, like Bollywood movies, Indian fighting movies, anime, like all the action, right? And so if you love any of that stuff, definitely check out Maya and the Three. I am about to like start a rewatch of it, like my third rewatch of it. And I guess okay, I was to
And
plug my
also somebody who also takes, you know, inspiration from everything Mexican and a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and creates its own thing, you know, its own fantasy world that is like Mexico, but not really, but also really, really, you know, it's Terry Blas in his book Hotel
yes,
There. So yeah, read this.
with amazing artwork by Claudia Aguirre.
Yes, obviously.
If you want some fun Mexican like fantasy whatever and like a three-eyed Day of the Dead mask.
Oh my god, you have the mask. What I haven't seen it. It's
Huh? You've never seen this?
no. That's incredible.
You've never seen this? I've shown it to you.
No, like the actual
I
mask.
made
No,
this.
that's
I made it.
incredible. We're so crafty.
She's the crafty queen.
So anyway, yeah.
Yep. Anyway, there's some Mexican fun Mexican stuff for you to check out.